We explained the beginning of Spanish exploration. Several sources say the Portuguese didn't have the power, the people, or the desire to form and keep Asian colonies. What the Portuguese had was good timing, because by the time they arrived in India, the Mughal Empire was conquering the northern half, allowing disorder and separation of the subcontinent, which allowed the Portuguese to offer gifts and bribes to southern Rajas. At the same time, the Ottoman and the Safavid gunpowder empires had essentially shut down the Silk Road. China was looking for a way to continue their trade with the Europeans who prized their goods. They also had a head start in Europe, as pre-Renaissance England was ending the War of the Roses and moving into a war against Scotland and Ireland, not yet ready to sail the world. France, a rival Catholic feudal state, was finding its footing after winning the 100 Years' War, and it was beginning to turn towards another war in northern Italy, led by Venice. The Dutch Netherlands had just been ceded to the Holy Roman Empire. The closest European power to be ready to take the ocean was Spain. The two dominant Catholic power states in Spain, Aragon and Castile, were merged together by the marriage of Ferdinand and Isabella in 1469. Their marriage would also bring an end to the Reconquista by 1492, when the last Moorish stronghold of Granada would fall. For the first time since the 700s, Spain was under control of a unified Catholic power. The reunification of Spain also began the monarch's attempt to expel all the other faiths. The Alhambra decree forced all Jews to leave Spain by July 1492, feeding into the eventual Inquisition for those who didn't leave. This action led to a major drain of culture and learning. Meanwhile, the Portuguese were ready to take to the sea to build their trading empire. A well-educated navigator who claimed to be from Genoa named Christopher Columbus had been trying to convince Portugal that a quicker route to the spice trade was to the west. He, like many others, knew the Earth was a sphere, just miscalculated how big it was and thought you could approach the Indies from the Atlantic. He eventually showed up in Spain to offer his plan to Isabella and Ferdinand. Needing good PR, a route to wealth and spices, and a global expansion of Catholicism, they agreed to finance, promising land and a governorship to Columbus. On August 2nd, 1492, Columbus and 87 sailors set out on ships nicknamed the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. They headed in the direction of what Columbus believed to be Japan. Instead, on October 12th, the men bumped into the Western Hemisphere unknowingly. Landing in the Bahamas, they named the new place San Salvador, before they sailed on to the islands of Cuba and Hispaniola. They ran into three groups of natives known as the Caribs, the Arawaks, and the Taino that Columbus believed to be natives from the Indies, so he called them Indians. He would make 3 return voyages, charting the islands and coasts of the Caribbean. The consequences of Columbus's voyages are hotly debated today, especially as to what legacy Columbus should hold. Those who see him as a villain look at the actions of Columbus and his men towards the natives in terms of slave labor, religious exploitation, genocide, and infecting populations with disease willingly and unwillingly. Those who see him as a hero point out that his voyages changed the balance of power and the economics of the world and pushed humanity into the modern age.